I know, it looks
Proper pro.
it looks so scary, sorry. Oh, wait.
Alright, I mean, yeah, I got into like the whole kind of tattoo side of things. I got a tattoo like really early on. I was like 14 when I got my first tattoo. And I've always been into like graffiti and whatnot. Like, always had to draw on something, you know what I mean? The second I got my first tattoo, I was just like, I know exactly what I need to be doing to like earn a living. Obviously like graffitiing and that, it's good fun, but doesn't pay the bills, you know what I mean? I mean at first it was pretty scary, but you kind of get used to it I guess. Like, I always feel blessed and honoured that people want to like, you know, have my artwork on them for life and that. I mean it's something that sometimes is appreciated, but a lot of the time it just kind of goes like under the radar, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean it's just like, to a lot of people it's just a tattoo. But yeah, it's always nice to like you know, leave a permanent mark. Nice to think that, you know, when I'm gone there'll still be something of mine bowling around. Worst experience, I'd probably say is guy I got in a fight with in Benidorm in the shop I used to apprentice at. He essentially wanted his girlfriend's name tattooed under his gooch, and I was just like, nah, not happening. Tattoo conventions, basically, like I'd say London would be the most famous one, like in England. You just get like some of the best artists from around the world. They'll all come to the convention for a weekend, and that just gives like the chance to people that obviously can't travel, you know, abroad to get this, you know, just that one tattoo. They can actually like get tattooed by them. There's always friendly competition, but that's, you know, that's the whole point of. It's just a bit of fun, really, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, oh, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Kind of thing. My passions are artwork, lettering, so tattooing just seemed like the best kind of way for me to like express my artwork, because people just don't buy art these days. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that's really sought after, I think. But tattoos, like everyone wants a tattoo. You know what I mean? No matter who you are, like how old, how young, everyone's got some sort of idea. Whether they're brave enough or not to get it is one thing, but pretty much everyone, yeah, like if they're gonna have some sort of art form, they seem to like want it in tattoos. Don't know why, but yeah, it seems to be the way forward. Lasts a little bit longer, I guess.
I hate being photographed and I hate cameras. Okay, my name's Julie McCauley and I'm a sculptor. I'm originally from Detroit and I've lived in Canterbury for 24 years and I studied art here. My work is three-dimensional, but also I work in four dimensions as well. I use material that is time-based in the sense of video, except that it uses no technology. What's been of interest in some sense with some of these pieces is it's got quite a bit of interest from scientists. And part of the reason it's got interest from scientists is because one of the pieces, which you can't see in the camera, but what's in the room, is based on a scientific experiment, a physics experiment at the University of Queensland in Australia, working with a particular material, which is bitumen, which is this stuff, which is black and tar. Obviously that suggests loss and chaos and death and sadness. And that's all intentional, but what drives it originally is not me thinking, oh, how can I make something that's bleak and sad and about loss? It just came with this. Normally fine artists don't get any reaction to their work. I mean, we are not musicians or performers, and so we don't get an immediate audience response. I'm not interested, really, in what the response is to my work. I don't make the work keeping anybody in mind except myself. It's very difficult to make a living with the arts. I suppose you will find that out as filmmakers. I don't know what percentage of people who actually earn their living doing it, and the rest of the people are making their work and just doing the best they can to survive. You know, it's a broad spectrum, so there is work that's easy for people to access, but I hope that my work has some rigor to it that maybe works more like a trap that, you know, gets you in but then takes you further and further and further, and that makes you want to look at it more or avoid it, you know, that you just think, oh, can't deal with that. To actually explain the work itself, that's why you make the work. So I know that sounds really cliche, that it should speak for itself, but that's actually true. I don't know who said it, somebody, I can't think right now. If I could explain the work, I wouldn't make it. That the work says more than I can about it, hopefully. And if I can actually talk through it, get rid of it.
In the last 2.5, 3 years since the Turner Centre opened in Margate, people are coming to Margate to buy art, which is brilliant for us artists. So the work is actually really starting to sell now, which is great. At last I can eat meat every month now. Introduce myself.
Yeah.
I'm Anthony Giles, I'm very posh, and I'm an artist basically. I work in oils, on canvas and board, and I paint local seascapes and landscapes. That's what I do. I mean, my great-grandfather was an artist. Apart from the fact I can't do much else these days, painting for me is just something you've got to do. It's like an athlete's got to run, an artist has to paint. My work's increased in the last 3 years, it's increased tenfold, which is really nice. But even now I'm only just making a living out of it. So it is really tough. And there's a lot of people out there that are a lot better than me that aren't making a living out of it. It is really hard to get that break. What I normally do is go out and sit. I've got a posh art box, which is a little paint box, which I put little tiny canvases in, and I go out and sketch and paint. And I bring these back to the studio, and I use these little studies to do the bigger stuff. I mean, I do sometimes take these big canvases out, but it's a bit of a bugger when the wind gets up. It's a bit of a nightmare. Turner is a big influence, as it is with many people. His later work, not his earlier stuff, but his later, more abstract stuff I love. Kurt Jackson is a big influence on me, as you can probably see from this one. This is quite Jacksonish. But I try and combine Turner's sort of light and glazing elements with a more modern sort of approach to painting. So you've got that dramatic light effect, but with a more contemporary feel to the painting. I think people are reverting back to traditional art slightly. There's still the Tracey Emins of this world that are going to produce stuff that is extremely controversial. I'm not going to say any more about that. But I think people generally want something on their walls that they can relate to, and that doesn't have to be explained to them. I would have gone into it 20 years ago if I'd have known how much I was going to be, how happy I will be, doing this. Because it's nice to go out, sit on the beach and just paint. People come out and have a chat, and dogs come up and cock their legs up you, and this happens regularly actually. You'd be amazed how many times I've been pissed on the beach. Yes.
In terms of leaving some kind of name or legacy or that kind of stuff, the art will live longer than me, and it's going through the process that we will all go through, so we will no longer be here in the future either. So I don't know what will happen to it, and I don't know, I can't, I think you'll hear this from artists a lot actually, or maybe you won't, is once it's out there, that's it. We really have no control over it. So once it's gone, or once we put it out there in the world, it's no longer ours, and it becomes the public's, and how they react to it, we don't really have any control over whatsoever. So the short answer to your question is I don't know what will happen, and what would I wish? I don't know. I suppose that people might find it as interesting as I do, but whether that happens or not, I don't know.